Hey, welcome back. All right, so let's do something fun. Up until this point, we've talked about a lot of the fundamentals that go into creating the causal landscape diagram, understanding time and space, understanding what elements are, how to build elements, what are the objects that go into elements, and how do we create functions and things like that. We defined objects and things like that. Well, let's pause here and think about, well, literally don't pause the video yet. I will have you pause the video in a second, but let's pause here and just look back on some of the things that we've introduced and we've talked about. And what I think would be really fun to do is let's do a little bit of an exercise. So I'll give you a challenge and let you have a crack at seeing if you can containerize space and also maybe start to draw in your timeline. And let's see how we go. So let me transition over here quickly. Now, and this probably needs to get blown up. All right, so let's start here. We'll work with the example I used in the last video on causal analysis, where I gave you this example of a delivery driver coming to your house, and that delivery driver, for whatever reason, because you were in the back room and you couldn't hear them knocking on the door, whatever it was, you missed the delivery. All right, so let's start with this as our top level effect. Now, what I want to do in this challenge is I just want to play with the very first two ideas that we started with, which were time and space. So let's assume that you have a canvas, and you can sketch this out on a notepad. You can do it in Visio if you have Visio. You can do it in PowerPoint if you want, but I just want you to have a play with creating the container. All right, so the challenge is this. I want you to think about, based on these objects that we have here, so package, driver, house, you, signature, maybe I think we said you might be stuck in the shower or stuck in the back room, and also PDA. Now think about these to begin with. You're welcome to add in additional objects and additional component parts. But the challenge is I want you to now see if you can create the containers in that linear way that I showed you, where we bring time and space together. So we're not bringing the objects in, just the container. All right, so you're going to containerize space. All right, so go ahead and pause the video. Have a little crack at this. Try to containerize space. Use as many different containers as you want. Use as many different colors as you want. And remember, try to lay them out in time, starting with the furthest object or the furthest container back in time at the bottom, and then moving up as we move in closer and closer and closer to the event, to the top level effect where you actually miss the delivery. All right, so let's have a crack at this, and then I'll walk you through what we're actually doing with it. Okay, so pause the video and have a go. See what you can come up with. All right, so aside from me banging the keyboard there and just moving everything around, let's see what we've got. So I'll move this off to the side. We know that these are the objects we're playing with. Now let's start with some of these containers. Hopefully you thought about this for a minute, and you really challenged yourself to come up with as many containers as you can. Now some of them are here, but some of these things are also objects that sit within a container. Okay. Now there's a couple ways you can do this. If it's easier for you to start from the most recent event, the actual activity where sort of the problem manifests, and then step back, you can do that. Or you can start at the very bottom and think, well, what's the furthest thing in time? It's kind of up to you. I will typically start with wherever the problem presents. So if a customer tells me that they were operating a machine and the machine created a defect and they think that's where the problem is, I'll start with that work environment, that space where the machine is. But in our case, we're dealing with a delivery driver, so let's have a look at this. And I'm already thinking about the fact that as I type on the keyboard, it's going to move the camera around. That's going to be really annoying. So I'm going to actually pause the video for a second and readjust the camera. Okay, so here we go. Let's start here. Now, if you want to start with the most obvious thing. Where is the place where you missed the delivery? We've already got something highlighted there. So I think I'm probably going to start with our house or your house or my house. So we'll start with the house there. So there's a container, and I think that works pretty well. It doesn't have to be super big. And okay, the next question is, who's at the house? What's happening at the house? So we know that the package is at the house. I don't think, let me highlight that. I don't think I would not fill. Where's my highlight button? That's not the one I want either. Let's change this to red. That works. All right, so house is done. I don't think I would bring in the package as a container, because unless you were worried about what was inside of the package, I think I would leave the package as an object. So I'm not going to do anything with the package. Let's go back to the house idea. So I'm at the house, and what other space do I need to containerize? Well, I think I might jump right to, I've got the driver. The driver is going to be an object here. I'm not going to containerize the driver, but what I might do is I might pull in the van. Call it delivery van. Okay, so now I've got a container for delivery van, and I think what would be interesting is actually that if I'll do something like this. If the delivery van at this point in time is actually parked at the house. Now I'm showing it inside the house. You can show it kind of however you want. I'll show it inside the house for now. It could be sitting off the side, but the point you're trying to make is that the delivery van and the house are existing at the same place at the same time, okay, but within their own individual containers. All right, what else do we have? So we've got the delivery van. I think here you're an object. I'm not going to worry about containerizing you at this point. The signature, I think, again, the signature, I'm not going to worry about containerizing that. The shower, okay, I think this can be containerized. And let's talk about why that is. So there's a shower, and we'll put that in here for a second. And oops, that's probably not the best color to put in there. Let's see if we can change this to, I don't know, like purple. Yeah, that's interesting. Okay, so we'll drop this in here. So we've got a shower there now. And the PDA, again, I don't think I need to worry about containerizing the PDA. I think that's pretty simple. But now let's think about the flow in terms of time. Let's see what we might do here. I'll copy this arrow. And we'll make that a straight line. So passage of time is going to go something like this, I think. And let's see if we can think about, I'll drop in some objects here. So let's just put, I don't know, 8 a.m. So let's say I miss the delivery at 8 a.m. Let's just drop it there for now. It's not the best spot, but whatever, it's good enough. All right. So if I miss the delivery at 8 a.m., well, we've containerized the house, that's right. At the point when I miss the delivery, I'm probably in the shower in the house. The delivery van is probably here, but the delivery van also, yeah, it would be something like that. So the delivery van, I don't know, maybe I had a long shower, maybe it's something like this. Yeah, there we go. Maybe it's going to be something to start with like that. So, and we'll bring this one. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. Yeah, that's okay. Cool. So we've got the house, we've got the shower, we've got the delivery van, and we've got this passage of time. So let's think a little bit more about, let's think a little bit more about this. Let's say that the delivery driver maybe arrives at like, I don't know, 7:50 a.m. or something. That would probably actually wouldn't happen. It'd probably be like 7:58 or something. So we've got the delivery van. The driver at that point is in the delivery van. Then the driver arrives at our house, so we'll have some objects in there. And when they arrive at the house, there's going to be some interaction with the front door. We know that. And of course, I'm in the shower at the point they're knocking their door. That's pretty good. Now, if you wanted to go further back in time, you could probably add a couple other things. You could probably add, if you want, now I'm not saying you need to do this, but you could probably put something in here like, you could put whatever, local suburb, something like that. And you could probably, if you want to keep going further back in time, you can put something, and we'll change the color here to make this a little bit more interesting. How about like a red or something? Is just trying to be as garish as possible. How about, oh, and I spelled suburb wrong because I'm awesome like that. How do you spell suburb? Is it 1B? Yeah, there you go. That's my hardcore American education coming coming out. Look, a lot of Americans can't spell. Can spell. I'm not one of those. So thank you, spell check. So let's think about, if we keep going further back in time, what else is going on? Maybe there's a depot in there, and we could also probably represent the van again, either inside the depot or overlapping with the depot, something like that. And if you're in the States, of course, you're not going to say depot, you're going to say depot. I don't know. I've been away for so long, I don't even remember how to say it. Warehouse. How about that? So you can have some situation like this where maybe you can trace it all the way back, and you can go back in time, and you can say, this is one of the reasons why I don't like these containers, actually. It's quite annoying. But anyway, so let's say we go back to, I don't know, what time does the driver usually start? I mean, maybe like 5:58 or something, and we'll kind of put them back here, loading the delivery van. And then there's a period of travel time where they're traveling through the suburb, they're doing other deliveries, and maybe that's happening at, say, 6:30, something like that. So if we start to travel back in time, we end up with something that begins to look like this. Now, there's no objects in here, there's no functions in here, there's no interactions yet, but we're just starting when we're having a conversation with a client, or when we're thinking about doing some root cause analysis. Our very first pass is to say, okay, as much as I know, what are the spaces where I think there can be interactions? Once you get into the actual interactions themselves, yeah, of course, there's going to be, you'll identify more containers. You might think about one container, say the house, and you might decide, well, I'm going to actually split that into two pieces. I'm going to have the driveway, I'm going to have the house, and I'm going to have those as separate interactions. Okay, but I think this pretty much gets you there. So this is your very first challenge, and I'll start adding more of these challenges in, but this is the first one to get you playing with time and space. How did you do? Did you come up with these? Did you get the house? Did you get the shower in there? Did you put the delivery van in there? Did you struggle with this? How far back in time did you go? Did you go to the point where maybe you ordered something online, and so you put the computer inside your house, and you put the application that you used? You can put all of those things in there, especially if we talk about whether or not you need a signature at the point of delivery. You can go all the way back to the point where you place the order, and you can actually say, leave on my doorstep. Okay, so you might have had some other things in there, but hopefully you went well with this. If you've got any questions, any comments at all, any thoughts on this, drop them in the comments below, and please share what you've come up with. I'd love to see it. I'd love to hear about it. Anyway, this is your first challenge. Hopefully you nailed it, and we'll add some more of these to come. And again, if you're stuck, don't worry. There's help. Just reach out. Let me know in the comments you have questions. Drop me an email, and we'll get you sorted. Well done with the first challenge.